Alright, so this is our first image, a very red and teal looking image, and we're going to create a LUT like that, and then we're going to try to get a very deep and moody orange and teal look, and then we are going to try to get a green and a yellow and an orange all mixed in with each other with the teal still. So we're going to do those three, and we're going to start with this one. So let's get into it, and we're going to start by increasing the contrast. Highlights can come up. Shadows come up. Whites come down. And blacks. I pretty much always bring the blacks down. I will leave clarity alone. Bring up the vibrance. Take that saturation down. Now he has quite a bit of fade in his photos. So standard S-curve. Shadows down a tad. And bring those whites down. He very rarely majorly overexposes. And yeah, so moving on to HSL sliders. Now I'm not trying to make this image look really good, I'm just trying to match the colors, so don't judge if this image isn't looking great. Just trying to get those colors to look similar. Yellow's much more of an orange. Greens, a bit more green. He has quite deep blues. Someone like Sam Calder has quite light teal, but we're going to darken them up later. Saturation, orange come up a bit. Take down the yellows. There. The greens come up. Aqua coming down. And the blue coming down. Onto luminance. So we want to bring these reds right down. And 16 or 15. Yellow come up. I almost always bring the luminance of the yellow up because that just pops everything. You know, like the edges of everything has the sun hitting it. So if you pop the yellows, it pops everything. Greens, we want them nice and deep, and we want some nice and deep blues, so we're going to bring the luminance of these down. And split toning, nothing too major, just probably some blues that really help with the teal and orange look. And and down. Sharpening just depends on the image. Grain maybe. He doesn't seem to use any grain, but you'd never notice it really at 10 anyways. And down here, this is what's really going to give us our look. Bring down that saturation. We'll just adjust the exposure. And yeah, so I think they're looking really similar. And what we could just come down here and just gone bang, and already had our look. But I don't like to do that, and I'll show you why. So I think we're looking pretty similar. Before, after, pretty deep blues. Remember, this is taken in the middle of the day and this is at sunset, so you're going to get a bit more of a shine to the grasses, and we have a very bright sky, so it's difficult. So let's save this as a LUT. And create. So if I show you guys this image and try a LUT, so if we zoom in here, you can see he's got a little bit of green down there. So majority is turning red, but there's still a little green. So that's what we've got in our one as well. Just little patches of where the deep greens are, they're still green, and it gives a much more natural look. But when people do the teal and orange look, they so often come down here and move this right across, and it just makes everything, including his head, very, very red. So just keep it at 48 and you'll still keep some of those greens, and it just gives a much more natural look. So this was taken middle of the day as well, so it's hard to compare. So I'll show you this LUT on another one. That's before, after, and I'll just show you the orange and teals. So here's a sunset shot, and let's apply the LUT we just did. Bang. Let's just take down the exposure. Take up the exposure, sorry. Bring down those highlights. Before, after. Getting those nice blues, getting those nice oranges. And right, so that was our first one, and we're going to move on to our second one now. This one. So he quite often goes to this place, the Faroe Islands or something, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he always goes there and he quite often uses this very orange. It's not really a red, sometimes it's a bit more of a red, but in this case it's an orange. He uses this quite a bit. It's more of an orange rather than a real red, so we are going to try to do that. And come over to our image. So just ignore all the black, and we're just going to focus on these greens in the middle of the image. I'm going to try to get these oranges right. So we'll apply a LUT. So that's our first one so far. Take exposure right down. Start making this other one. So some of these can stay the same. Bring up the shadows. the same, stay the same. HSL, so this is, we want to move this all the way $100. Blues can stay the same. Greens, no. Blues can stay the same. Now luminance, they can stay down there. Bring the oranges down. We're getting there. Bring these yellows down. But you still want them to be a little more than the other ones. Green stay the same. Blue's the same. Split toning. Yep. And they can stay the same. So I think we are pretty good. So if we were to drop the blacks, it would be much more similar. It's a very, but our image is so bright, and his is quite a cloudy day. But so that's with the blacks right down, and it looks much better. But the reason I'm not going to have my blacks right down is I want to save it as a LUT, and I want it to work on multiple images. I can just flick through my LUTs, and I can just see how it will look on an image really fast without having to go into it and adjust the blacks to see how it would look if it was correctly exposed. So I'm going to keep it at 71, and I know if I drop those blacks, it's going to look good, because I'm going to use this on more moodier images like this. So I'm going to keep that as that. I'm going to save it. I'll just show you before, after, before, after. Create, and ignore all this black stuff. We're just worried about that stuff. And moving on to our next one. So this is quite a common one people use, and I've done it before, but Rob's one's a little different. So as we can see, he's got his greens, but in his greens there's oranges that pop, and there's yellows that pop, and then there's some greens that look a little orange, so it's a real mixture. And yeah, so we're gonna do it over here, and we're gonna make all our colors pop. We're gonna have yellows, we're gonna have greens, we're gonna have oranges. So I'm gonna apply the first one and just go about it. I'll apply the second one. So again, a lot of things can stay the same. I'm gonna bring up saturation a little though. And then moving on to HSL. So let's bring these down. Yellow's back. Greens, we want to have our greens popping. Already we've got that mixture of colour coming back. because most people like to warm up their greens, but then they lose their greens completely, and then you can get your yellows back by just moving your yellows to the orange. And blues stay the same. Bring up the greens. And we're going to change the saturation of the blues. And luminance. Again, these yellows are a bit more brighter than the other colors. So bringing those greens down. And I'm going to make the blues back to normal, because this is commonly a bright image that you'd use this on. Not always, but in split toning, going to change a bit here, bring it down. And shadows keep the same. And down here we're just going to ease back on the split tone, so we get those greens back in. Get a good ratio of greens, yellows and oranges. Just bring up the exposure a little so you can see. And looking at this image, you would think looking at the before, you would think that is just green. That is just green. But when you apply the Lut, now it's green, it's orange, and it's yellow. So I'll also show you on this one. Oh, go back. So let's save it as a Lut before I can show you on another one. Now we'll go back to our first one. Apply that mixed Lut. So at the moment, before, the greens just look like green, and now they look all mixed. On this one, the greens just look green, and bang, mixture. So that is looking really good. And to show you, what we've done, we went from this one, before, after, very red and teal, and then we went and did this deep orange, before, after. So he uses that on a few. He got some deep, he probably uses a mixed one on this one, so he's still got some greens in there. So he probably used our first one we made, no, our last one we made. Got some deep oranges, and then you've got that nice yellowy green coming in there. And yeah, and then we did our last one, which was this one, before, after. That was on a cloudy day, and this is on a very bright day, so keep that in mind. And we had our sunset, before, after. So I think they're looking really good. If you guys leave a comment on what you guys want to see, if you like this, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, make sure you go give him a follow on Instagram and YouTube. His links will be in the description as well. If he has his Luts for sale, I'll put a link down there as well. And yeah, let me know if you found this helpful, and I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, see you in the next one.